Bismillah. Welcome back to the Inspired Muslim, the space where we don't just talk about Ramadan routines, we talk about heart transformation. As Ramadan draws closer, so many of us feel that familiar mix of excitement and pressure. We want this Ramadan to be better than the last one. We want to pray more, feel more, connect more. We want to walk out of Ramadan changed. And deep down, we know that the key to all of that isn't just fasting longer hours or finishing more pages of Quran. It's our Ramadan is the month where prayer should feel alive. Where every rak'ah should feel heavier with meaning, every sujud closer to Allah, every standing in prayer a reminder of why we're fasting in the first place. Yet, if we're being honest, many of us finish Ramadan feeling tired, hungry, and busy, but not necessarily connected. We prayed more, yes, but did we pray better? We stood more, but were our hearts present? These are uncomfortable questions, but the Inspired Muslim isn't here to sugarcoat spiritual reality. We're here to grow. What's scary is that most prayer mistakes in Ramadan aren't loud or obvious. They're subtle. They hide behind good intentions. We don't miss prayer because we don't care. We miss its impact because we don't notice what we're doing wrong. We delay prayers thinking we still have time. We rush through rak'ahs because we're tired or hungry. We stand in front of Allah physically, while our minds are somewhere else entirely. And slowly, without realizing it, prayer becomes routine instead of refuge. Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food, it's about rebuilding our relationship with Allah. And Allah is the strongest bridge between the servant and their Lord. If that bridge is weak, rushed, or neglected, the entire Ramadan experience suffers. You can fast all day, make dua all night, attend Tarawih regularly, and still feel spiritually empty if your prayer lacks presence. That's why this topic matters so much, and that's why we're talking about it here on the Inspired Muslim. Today's reminder is not about judgment. It's not about pointing fingers. It's about awareness. Because once you see a mistake, you can fix it. And once you fix it, your entire Ramadan changes. The smallest correction in prayer can unlock massive spiritual growth. One sincere sujud can outweigh years of distracted worship. One focused far can change the direction of your entire day, and sometimes, your entire life. So as you're watching this, ask yourself honestly, how do I pray in Ramadan? Do my prayers calm me, or do they feel rushed? Do they soften my heart, or do they feel heavy? Am I praying to connect, or just to complete? These questions aren't meant to burden you. They're meant to free you. Because Ramadan is mercy, and Allah is waiting for us to return to Him through prayer. Here on the Inspired Muslim, our goal is simple: to help you experience a Ramadan where your doesn't just increase in number, but in meaning. So let's walk through the common prayer mistakes people make in Ramadan, one by one, and more importantly, learn how to avoid them, so this Ramadan can truly be the one that changes everything. 1. Delaying until the last minute. One of the most common, and most damaging mistakes people make in Ramadan is delaying their prayers until the very last moment. Not missing them completely, not abandoning them, but constantly pushing them to the edge of their time. I'll pray after iftar. Let me rest first. I'll just finish this one thing. And before we realize it, I'll become something we squeeze into our day instead of something we center our day around. What makes this mistake so dangerous is that it hides behind good intentions. We still pray. We still fast. We still tell ourselves we're doing our best. But every time we delay we subconsciously train our hearts to treat Allah's call as flexible. And the heart learns fast. When prayer becomes negotiable, presence disappears. Urgency disappears. Love disappears. The adhan becomes background noise instead of a divine invitation. In Ramadan especially, delaying prayer drains it of its sweetness. You're already hungry, already tired, already distracted by food, family, and schedules. So when you finally stand to pray at the last minute, the prayer feels heavy. You rush through it. Your sujud is short. Your mind is counting seconds. And instead of prayer giving you energy, it feels like another burden on your shoulders. That's not how Al was meant to feel. Allah did not prescribe prayer times to restrict us, He did it to protect us. Each prayer time is a moment Allah chooses to invite you back to Him throughout the day. When you delay it consistently, you're not just delaying an action, you're delaying a meeting with your Creator. Imagine making someone important wait every single time. Over time, the relationship weakens. The same happens spiritually. And let's be honest, Ramadan exposes our priorities. If we can plan our entire day around iftar, around tarawih, around sleep, but still struggle to pray on time, that's a signal. Not of failure, but of misalignment. Ramadan is the training ground where prayer is supposed to take first place. When Al leads, everything else follows. The shift starts with something small but powerful, treating prayer time as non-negotiable. Not when it's convenient, not when energy allows, but when Allah calls. The moment you respond early, calmly, intentionally, something changes inside. Prayer stops feeling rushed. Khushu slowly returns. You begin to feel grounded again. One on-time prayer can carry you through hours of fasting. And if reminders like this are helping you rethink your relationship with Allah, this is exactly what we do here on The Inspired Muslim: real conversations, heart-level reminders, and practical guidance to help you experience a Ramadan that actually transforms you. If that's the kind of content you want throughout this month and beyond, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming. Delaying Al doesn't mean you're a bad Muslim. It means your heart needs a gentle realignment. Ramadan gives us that chance. Start with one prayer. Pray it early. Pray it calmly. And watch how that single change begins to reshape your entire Ramadan. 2. Rushing through prayers just to get them done. Another major mistake people fall into during Ramadan is rushing through Al as if it's a chore that needs to be cleared off the list. You see it everywhere. Quick standing, rushed recitation, bowing and sujud that feel more like movements than moments of worship. The prayer technically happens, but the heart never really shows up. And Ramadan, unfortunately, makes this worse for a lot of people. Why? Because we're tired. We're fasting. Our sleep schedules are all over the place. So instead of slowing down, we rush. We tell ourselves, at least I prayed. And while yes, praying is better than not praying, this mindset slowly strips Al of its power. Prayer was never meant to be something you survive. It was meant to be something that revives you. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, emphasized tranquility in prayer. He corrected the man who rushed his Al and told him, "Go back and pray, for you have not prayed." That's deep. The movements were there, but the essence was missing. When we rush, we deny ourselves the very thing prayer is meant to give: peace, grounding, connection, and light in the heart. In Ramadan, rushed prayers often happen because we're mentally elsewhere. During Maghrib, we're thinking about food. During Ish, we're thinking about tarawih. During tarawih, we're thinking about how many rakas are left. The body is present, but the soul is sprinting ahead. And when prayer becomes something we want to finish instead of experience, its impact fades. Here's the truth a lot of us need to hear: a slow prayer with focus is better than a fast prayer with distraction. You don't need long recitation. You don't need perfect Arabic. You need presence. Taking just a few extra seconds in Ruk. Letting your sujud breathe. Allowing yourself to actually feel the words you're saying, even if it's just, Subna Rabbi Alal. Ramadan is meant to soften us, not harden us. When you rush through Al, you carry that rushed energy into the rest of your worship. But when you slow down, everything changes. Your fasting feels lighter. Your dua feels more sincere. your heart feels more awake. One calm prayer can reset an entire day of exhaustion. And if reminders like this are helping you rethink how you pray, not just how often, then you're exactly where you need to be. This is the kind of heart-focused Ramadan preparation we share consistently on the Inspired Muslim, so stay connected and grow with us through this blessed month. Rushing in prayer doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're overwhelmed. And Ramadan came to heal that, not deepen it. Slow down. Allah is not rushing you. He's waiting for you. 3. Praying without khushu, presence of the heart. One of the most painful realities of Ramadan is standing in front of Allah, while the heart is somewhere else entirely. The body is facing the Qibla, the lips are moving, the actions look correct, but the mind is replaying conversations, planning meals, scrolling imaginary timelines, or worrying about tomorrow. This is what it means to pray without khushu. And for many people, this has quietly become normal. Ramadan is supposed to amplify connection. Fasting weakens the body so the heart can rise. But when prayer lacks presence, fasting and al become disconnected. You fast all day, yet the prayer that should refill your soul feels dry. And slowly, a dangerous thought creeps in: why doesn't Ramadan feel the way it used to? The answer is often not in what we're missing, but in how distracted we've become. Praying without khushu doesn't always come from laziness. Sometimes it comes from overload. We live in a world of constant noise, endless notifications, and non-stop thinking. Then we expect our hearts to instantly switch modes the moment we say, Allahu Akbar. It doesn't work like that. The heart needs permission to arrive. And when we don't give it that space, prayer becomes mechanical. What's scary is that we can finish an entire al and not remember a single verse we recited. Not a single moment we felt close to Allah. And when prayer stops leaving an imprint on the heart, we start relying on quantity to compensate: more rakas, longer standing, louder recitation. But presence will always outweigh performance. Khushu begins before prayer, not during it. It begins with how we respond to the adhan, how we make wudu, how we walk to the prayer mat. If you rush into prayer straight from distraction, your heart will carry that chaos with it. But if you pause, even for a few seconds, and remind yourself who you are about to stand before, everything shifts. Ramadan gives us a rare opportunity to retrain our hearts. This is the month to reclaim sujud. To let silence exist between movements. To slow your recitation just enough that your heart can follow your tongue. You don't need to feel something dramatic every time, but you should feel present. And if this struggle feels familiar, you're not alone, and you're in the right place. On the Inspired Muslim, we talk about real spiritual struggles without pretending faith is always easy. If you want reminders that go beyond surface-level worship and help you build a deeper connection with Allah, especially in Ramadan, make sure you're subscribed and walking this journey with us. Praying without khushu doesn't mean Allah is far. It means your heart needs gentle training. And Ramadan is the perfect classroom. Start small. One prayer. One sujud. One moment of awareness. That's how presence returns. 4. Only praying in Ramadan. One of the biggest traps people fall into is becoming strong in al during Ramadan, and weak the moment the moon leaves. Prayers are on time, mosques are full, hearts feel soft. Then Ramadan ends, and slowly, everything fades. Missed prayers become normal again. Delays return. Consistency disappears. And without realizing it, al becomes a seasonal habit instead of a lifelong commitment. This mistake doesn't come from hypocrisy. It comes from misunderstanding the purpose of Ramadan. Ramadan was never meant to replace year-round worship, it was meant to reset it. It's the spiritual boot camp that trains your soul to survive outside the month. When prayer only exists in Ramadan, it means the lesson was never carried forward. Allah is the Lord of Ramadan, and the Lord of every other month. If we only turn to Him intensely for 30 days, then slowly walk away for the next 11 months, something is missing. Al is not a Ramadan accessory. It's the foundation of faith. Ramadan just reminds us what that foundation is supposed to feel like. The danger of being a Ramadan-only worshipper is that it creates a cycle of guilt. Strong start. Weak finish. Regret. Then next Ramadan comes, and we repeat the same promises, this year I'll be different. But change doesn't come from intensity, it comes from consistency. Allah loves deeds that are small but continuous. Here's the mindset shift Ramadan is teaching us: don't aim to become perfect, aim to become consistent. If you pray 5 times a day in Ramadan, don't tell yourself you'll maintain that flawlessly forever. Tell yourself you'll protect at least the on-time prayers. Tell yourself you'll never abandon Al completely again. That's real growth. Ramadan is like a spiritual spotlight, it shows you what you're capable of when distractions are removed. The goal is not to keep Ramadan going forever. The goal is to carry a piece of Ramadan with you when it ends. One prayer protected. One habit kept. One connection preserved. And if you're watching this thinking, I don't want my faith to crash after Ramadan anymore, that intention matters. That's exactly why the Inspired Muslim exists, to help you build a faith that survives beyond special months. If these reminders are speaking to you, stay connected with the channel so we can keep growing together, Ramadan and beyond. Only praying in Ramadan doesn't make you a bad Muslim. It means your heart responds when Allah calls, but needs help staying consistent. And that help starts with awareness. Let Ramadan train you, not just inspire you. 5. Neglecting Far despite fasting. One of the most heartbreaking contradictions of Ramadan is this: fasting all day for the sake of Allah, but missing Far, the very prayer that begins the fast. People wake up for Sir, eat, drink, scroll, maybe even chat. And then fall back asleep while the adhan of Far is called. And later that day, they proudly say, I'm fasting. But fasting without Far is like building a house with no foundation. Far is not just another prayer. It's a declaration. It's the prayer that proves your fasting is more than hunger, it's obedience. Allah calls you when the world is silent, when sleep is heavy, when comfort is tempting. Responding to that call is a sign of sincerity. Missing it repeatedly should concern us. Not out of fear, but out of honesty. What makes this mistake so common in Ramadan is the broken sleep schedule. Late nights for Tarawih, long do, early Sir, it all adds up. But here's the truth: if you can wake up to eat, you can wake up to pray. One is for the body. The other is for the soul. And the soul deserves priority. Neglecting Far affects the entire day. You fast, but something feels off. You're irritable. Your energy is low. Your focus is weak. That's not just physical hunger. That's spiritual imbalance. Far brings light into the day. When it's missing, the day feels heavy no matter how disciplined your fast is. Ramadan is the perfect time to rebuild your relationship with Far. Not by aiming for perfection, but by protecting it fiercely. Even if you're exhausted. Even if you pray it simply. Even if it's just the Fard at first. Showing up matters more than showing off. And if this reminder is hitting close to home, you're not alone. And you're exactly who this channel is for. The Inspired Muslim exists to help us face uncomfortable truths with hope, not shame. If you want reminders that help you fix the root, not just the symptoms, stay connected with the channel and walk this journey with us. Missing Far doesn't mean your fast is worthless, but it does mean something important is missing. And the beautiful thing about prayer is that every single day, Allah gives you another chance to respond to His call. Tomorrow morning is waiting. 6. Overloading with extra prayers and burning out. Ramadan starts, and motivation is sky high. The first few nights feel electric. Long Tarawih. Extra nafil prayers. Late nights making dua. Early mornings for Sur and Far. We tell ourselves, this is the month, I'm doing everything. And that enthusiasm is beautiful. But for many people, it doesn't last. Somewhere in the middle of Ramadan, exhaustion hits. Prayers feel heavy. Motivation disappears. And slowly, we start cutting back, until sometimes we stop altogether. This is the mistake of spiritual overload. Doing too much, too fast, without balance. Islam never taught us to worship in a way that breaks us. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, consistently warned against extremism, even in good deeds. He taught that the most beloved actions to Allah are those done consistently, even if they are small. Ramadan is not about intensity for a few days, it's about sustainability for a lifetime. Burnout happens when we confuse ambition with wisdom. We compare ourselves to others. We see people praying long rakas, finishing the Quran multiple times, staying up all night, and we push ourselves to match that pace without considering our capacity. But Allah doesn't ask you to copy someone else's worship. He asks you to be sincere with yours. When burnout sets in, prayer becomes something we dread instead of look forward to. Tarawih starts feeling like a burden. Extra prayers feel forced. And that's when people begin to resent worship, not because it's bad, but because they didn't pace themselves. That resentment is dangerous. Worship should draw you closer to Allah, not push you away. Ramadan teaches us balance. It teaches us to prioritize what is obligatory, then gently build on top of it. If all you can manage consistently is your 5 daily prayers, on time, with presence, that is a huge success. Extra prayers are a gift, not a requirement. They are meant to enhance your connection, not exhaust your soul. The goal is not to do everything, it's to do what you can, well. A short tarawih prayed with focus is better than long standing done with resentment. A few rakas every night consistently are better than a spiritual sprint that ends in collapse. And if you're looking for guidance that helps you worship without burning out, especially in Ramadan, this is exactly what we talk about on the Inspired Muslim. Faith isn't about pushing until you break, it's about building until you're strong. Stay connected with the channel if you want reminders that help you grow steadily, not just emotionally. Burnout doesn't mean you failed Ramadan. It means you need balance. Slow down. Choose consistency. Allah is not impressed by how much you do. He loves how sincerely you do it. 7. Treating tarawih lightly. Tarawih is one of the greatest gifts of Ramadan. It's the time when the Quran fills the night, when hearts soften, and when believers stand together before Allah after a long day of fasting. And yet, for many people, tarawih slowly turns into something casual, something optional in spirit, rushed in action, and light in meaning. People arrive late, leave early without reason, talk between rakas, check their phones, or mentally count how many units are left. The body is standing, but the heart is waiting for it to end. And over time, tarawih becomes less about standing before Allah and more about getting through the night. This mistake often comes from fatigue, not disrespect. After a long day of fasting, heavy food, and busy schedules, the night prayer feels hard. But tarawih was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be rewarding. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, encouraged standing in prayer during Ramadan with sincerity and faith, promising forgiveness of past sins. That promise alone should make us pause. Treating tarawih lightly also shows up in comparison. People focus more on how long the prayer is than how meaningful it is. This masjid is too long. That imam is too fast. And in the middle of all that commentary, we forget why we're standing there in the first place. Allah didn't invite us to critique, He invited us to connect. Here's the perspective shift: tarawih is not about the number of rakas you finish. It's about how you stand before Allah at night. If you can't pray long, pray sincerely. If you're tired, shorten your prayer, but don't empty it of presence. Even a few rakas prayed with khushu can outweigh long prayers done with distraction. Ramadan nights are rare. Once the month ends, they disappear. The quiet, the Quran, the softness of the heart, it all fades. That's why treating Tarawih lightly is such a loss. Not because it's obligatory, but because it's an opportunity. And if reminders like this are helping you rethink how you approach Ramadan nights, that's exactly what the Inspired Muslim is about, helping you see worship not as a burden, but as an honor. Stay connected with the channel if you want to deepen your relationship with Allah during the days and the nights of Ramadan. Don't treat Tarawih as something to survive. Treat it as something to cherish. One night prayed with sincerity could change your entire Ramadan. 8. Ignoring Sunnah and Witr prayers. Many people focus only on the Fard prayers and Tarawih during Ramadan, and forget the subtle but powerful Sunnah prayers and Witr that complete their worship. It's easy to think, I prayed my Fard, I stood in Tarawih, I'm done. But Sunnah and Witr are not optional extras, they are the spiritual glue that strengthens your relationship with Allah and protects your obligatory prayers. Skipping these prayers can slowly weaken your connection without you realizing it. Sunnah prayers before Far or after Dur prepare your heart, soften your mind, and build consistency. Witr, especially, is the crown of your nightly worship. Ending the night with Witr is like sealing your devotion with a personal, intimate conversation with Allah. When people skip it because they are tired or think it's extra, they miss out on an incredible opportunity to earn Allah's mercy and forgiveness. In Ramadan, we often overload ourselves with Tarawih and forget these smaller acts. But the Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, taught us that the best deeds are those done consistently, and the small prayers we maintain quietly protect our Fard prayers from becoming mechanical. They keep our worship balanced and our hearts connected. In other words, the big acts feel heavier and more meaningful when the small acts are present. Here's the mindset shift: don't just focus on quantity. Focus on quality and completeness. Even if your Tarawih is long, if you ignore Sunnah or Witr, the prayer experience is incomplete. And the beauty of Ramadan is that it gives us the opportunity to restore these forgotten habits. Protect them now, and they'll carry forward beyond the month. If this advice is resonating with you, that's exactly why the Inspired Muslim exists, to help you see not just the obvious acts of worship but the subtle ones that make your connection real and lasting. If you want more reminders like this, make sure you're subscribed and journey with us this Ramadan. Remember, Sunnah and Witr are not extras to check off, they're treasures that protect your prayers, soften your heart, and multiply your reward. Don't neglect them. Stand before Allah fully, and let every prayer be complete. 9. Not making dua during Al. Many of us spend Ramadan praying, standing, bowing, and performing sujud, but we forget one of the most intimate moments of worship, making dua while in prayer. We remember to ask Allah for things before iftar, after prayer, or in the quiet of the night, but during Al, when we are closest to Him, we often stay silent or recite mechanically. Sujud is the moment Allah is closest to His servant. The Prophet, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, the closest a servant is to his Lord is when he is in sujud, so make plenty of dua. Yet, many of us rush through this, reciting words without intention, moving quickly to stand, or forgetting to ask Allah from our hearts. That's a huge missed opportunity, an invitation to pour your heart out that comes once per rakah, multiple times a day. This mistake usually comes from distraction or the fear of doing it wrong. People think, I don't have the right words, or I'll just make dua later. But dua doesn't need perfection, it needs sincerity. Even a few whispered words, a personal request, or a silent plea from the heart carries immense reward. Ramadan is the month where Allah multiplies acceptance, so imagine asking from the place He promised is closest to your heart. Here's a practical way to fix it: during sujud, pause for a few seconds longer than usual. Speak to Allah like you would speak to someone you trust. Ask Him for guidance, forgiveness, blessings for yourself, your family, the Ummah, and even the world. Let your heart direct your tongue. That moment, simple, intimate, and sincere, is far more valuable than hours of distracted prayer. And if these reminders are helping you see the real power of dua, then you're in the right place. That's exactly what we focus on here on The Inspired Muslim, practical ways to connect deeply with Allah, especially during Ramadan. Make sure you're subscribed so you can keep these heart-level reminders coming, and make this Ramadan truly transformational. Don't treat dua as an afterthought. Make it the heart of your prayer. One heartfelt plea in sujud can outweigh countless rushed words said without feeling. Ramadan is the perfect time to reclaim this power, so don't let it slip by. 10. Letting food and sleep control prayer. Ramadan is a month of discipline, but one of the most common mistakes is letting the rhythm of food and sleep dictate your worship. Many people plan their day around when to eat sir, when to break the fast, or how to rest between Tarawih and Far, rather than letting prayer and spiritual priorities lead. And when prayer becomes secondary to meals or sleep, even the most devoted fasting can feel empty. Think about it, you can schedule your day perfectly for iftar and sir, you can plan long Tarawih, and you can even track how many Quran pages you complete. But if Maghrib or Far is late or rushed because you're too tired or full, something critical is missing. Prayer is meant to be the anchor of Ramadan, not a convenience to fit around other needs. When the body controls your worship, the heart gets left behind. This mistake often happens without intention. We think, I need energy, I need rest, I'll pray after iftar. And while physical care is important, we forget that Allah gives us the strength to worship through discipline, not indulgence. Overeating at iftar, sleeping past Far, or skipping prayers due to fatigue quietly erodes spiritual consistency. The irony is that if you let food and sleep take control, you end up spiritually weaker, even if physically comfortable. The shift starts by putting prayer first, then scheduling meals, rest, and even extra worship around it. If you need energy, make sir light but purposeful. If you're tired, rest after praying, not before. Ramadan is training the soul to prioritize Allah's commands above temporary comfort. Every time we give in to laziness, we delay the spiritual growth that fasting and prayer are meant to unlock. And if this reminder is resonating with you, that's exactly what the Inspired Muslim is about, helping you structure Ramadan around what truly matters, not just what's convenient. Make sure you're subscribed so you can get more guidance, practical tips, and heart-level reminders to make this Ramadan transformative. Remember, food and sleep are temporary. Prayer is eternal. Let your worship lead your schedule, not the other way around. One disciplined day can set the tone for an entire month. One prayer on time can shape your entire Ramadan experience. Ramadan is not just a month of fasting, it's a month of transformation. And your prayers are at the very heart of that change. As we've explored today, there are 10 common mistakes that quietly steal the blessings of Ramadan: delaying prayer, rushing through it, standing without khushu, only praying in Ramadan, neglecting Far, overloading and burning out, treating Tarawih lightly, ignoring Sunnah and Witr, skipping dua during and letting food and sleep control your worship. Each mistake might seem small, but together they can dilute the spiritual power of this sacred month. The good news? Awareness is the first step toward change. Ramadan gives you the chance to reset, not just your schedule, but your heart. One small adjustment can multiply your reward. Praying on time, slowing down, bringing your heart into every rak'ah, protecting Far, valuing Tarawih, honoring Sunnah and Witr, making dua during sujud, and letting prayer lead your day instead of meals or sleep. Consistency, presence, and intention are worth far more than rushing through rituals or overloading yourself in exhaustion. So as we enter this blessed month, let us take a deep, intentional step toward better worship. Let us pray with our hearts awake, not just our bodies moving. Let us fast not only from food, but from distraction, laziness, and neglect. Let us carry the lessons of Ramadan beyond these 30 days, so that our connection with Allah continues to grow long after the last fast is complete. Let us make this dua together. O Allah, bless our Ramadan. Make our prayers sincere, our hearts present, and our fasting accepted. Protect us from distractions and negligence, strengthen our consistency, and allow us to stand before you with humility, khushu, and gratitude. Let every sujud, every rak'ah, and every moment of worship bring us closer to you. Forgive our shortcomings, purify our hearts, and grant us the wisdom to use this Ramadan to transform our lives. O Allah, let us not return to our old habits after this blessed month, but help us maintain our prayers, our dua, and our connection with you always. Ameen. And remember, if you want to continue growing and receiving reminders to help your heart, mind, and soul stay on track throughout Ramadan, stay connected with the Inspired Muslim, subscribe to the channel, and let's walk this journey together. This Ramadan, don't just count the fasts, let your prayers, presence, and intention count. Let this be the Ramadan that changes everything.